Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of Native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle.
There we go. What a day today. What a day. Oh my goodness. So they changed my schedule. So I am working like 11 o'clock Sunday morning till 7 o'clock Sunday night. And not getting home until about 7:20, 7:25. So, it was a pretty rough day at work. So if I look like I'm out of sorts, more than likely I am. Okay. Hey, Kevin, Cindy, good to see you. Thank you for popping in. And I don't know. With this new schedule, it's going to be awful weird, because usually I work like 10 to 6 or 6 to 2, but they got this 11 to 7 bit. So you know what? Just got to deal with it, buddy. Yes. And I'm okay. I'm okay right now because I'm on my show and I got my people in the chat room and all the other people who are listening into the 160 different countries that we are broadcasting in tonight. This platform, UPRN, is a wonderful platform. It has their show 7 days a week, starting at 2 p.m. all the way up till whenever. And there's a lot of good hosts, and they have a lot of good shows. So if you're not doing anything during the week and you get bored watching all the bullshit on TV, jump on your phone, jump on your computer, and sit back and enjoy all the different shows here on UPRN. Speaking of which, I want to thank UPRN for allowing me to give you 2 shows a week, Sunday nights and Tuesday nights, 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. I'm just grateful for everybody, and I'm grateful for, this platform that I'm on. So, don't forget, right after mine, Mr. Don Yazzie, Don and Darren, they are going to have their podcast, Don't Whistle at Night. And when my show is done, just go on over there. Hey, Mish, just go over to their platform and just watch the show and tell them I sent you. How does that sound? That sounds like good. But all in all, there is 9 more days, and it will be St. Patrick's Day. And as I continue with my shows about different things about Ireland and the Irish people, tonight I wanted to talk about why did the Irish come to America and how they were treated. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. They were treated like crap, is what they were. You know, Scotsman, good to see you. He says the activity has picked up tremendously over 2 weeks for some reason. I have my thoughts on that one, brother. I have my thoughts on that one. Maybe a mental telepathy thing, the Bigfoots down there where you're at and telling them, to show themselves to you, buddy. But I know that the Irish came to America primarily to escape desperate poverty, famine, and oppression. The main driver was the 1840s potato famine, which killed over 1 million people. Others fled oppression, British penal laws, high taxes, and religious persecution, seeking better economic opportunities and land ownership. Now, I'd be doing the same thing. If I was living in Ireland, I know my people are over in Ireland, and we got it going back to like my great great grandmother, but God only knows how far it went back on my lineage. But if I was over in Ireland and my people were dying, there was no food, of course I'm going to come to America, and definitely to escape from the British, who ruled that part. I guess you want to call it the United Kingdom or Ireland, whatever. And they were bastards to the Irish. They really were. They weren't treated them like shit. They were in squalor, But the Irish people, the Irish people, they're downright stubborn as hell. Hey, Mark Eddie, they are. And what I like about the Irish is that they all stick together, and so they probably got together and said, hey, you know what? Why don't we go to America, see what's going on over there? And so they did. And when they got to America, it wasn't pleasant. But some of the reasons, the Great Famine in 1845 to 1852, like I said, a devastating blight destroyed potato crops, which were the staple food for most of the Irish population, leading to mass starvation. Economic desperation. Many Irish were tenant farmers, and exorbitant starvation and the lack of opportunity. And you can blame that on English, You can blame that on England and the kings or whatever they had back there. Joe Fox, good to see you, my friend. But just remember, though, 9 more days, St. Paddy's Day, for the people who just came into the chat, which is so cool. And political and religious persecutions. Early waves, particularly in the 18th century, were driven by oppression British rule, including penal laws that targeted Catholics and Presbyterian dissenters. I guess you could take this way, the religion thing, From what I was taught and told when I was a young boy growing up, all the Catholics were part of Southern Ireland, and that would be Galway and below. But the Protestants, they lived up north. And that Northern Ireland at the time was ruled by the British, And there are some things out there. the reason why the British had Northern Ireland, because there was a lot more places to doctor boats, doctor ships, you know. And the British actually, I guess, what the religion was. What is it? The South versus the North over Catholicism. But that's the reason they gave. They gave the reason that it was a religious war, but it probably goes deeper than that, you know. And trust me, I don't know if they're doing it right now, but I know for a while, okay, especially when I was growing up in the 60s, it's all you heard in the families. My cousins, my families, all the Irish people, you know, talking about the war between the IRA and the British. And that's just in the 60s. Wait till I start telling you about the 1800s, which was even worse. Um, but the main reason I do believe that the Irish did come to America is the desire to have a better life. America represented a place of freedom and opportunity compared to the systematic restrictions in Ireland. I would think that if I was back in the 1840s and all I hear about, oh, America, you can get a job, you can do this, you can do that in America. And you can have the freedom and, basically do what you wanted to do. But it was a different story for the Irish. A big different story. And it wasn't a good one. It wasn't. In fact, it's kind of sad, you know. But they made the trek. There you go, Mish. Found the correct room. That's funny. Well, I'm glad you found the correct room there, pal. But coming to America, they wanted a better life. But you know what? It really wasn't a good life. They have some key historical details here. Now, everybody, that I use my AI. And today I was in a rush, so I have a reason why I'm using my AI here. Because my brain, being sober for so long, I mean, telling you I have so much alcohol in the brain that, I lost a couple brain cells up there, so I need some help when I look this stuff up. Because I try to be honest with you guys, and I want to give you a good show on it. But that's enough. Mish says, come to a new country, however, you need to leave your country's beliefs behind and don't force them onto the new country. Ah, interesting, Mish. I'm going to read that again. You come to a new country, however, you need to leave your country's beliefs behind and don't force them onto the new country. And I can understand that, but when the Irish came over, they brought their beliefs with them. They didn't leave them behind. Because whenever they got into New York, okay, all they had were other Irish people. And they weren't just going to throw their stuff out the door, what they believed in. And that's what kind of made the Irish strong. Okay. Even they were getting persecuted here in this country. I don't want to call it persecution. I just want to say they were kicked to the curb. They were kicked to the curb. And there was a big sign like, I don't want to get too far ahead. So hence what's happening here in Australia. We need to have hate speech. And we can't even raise our Aussie flag because it offends the Muslims. What the fuck? I feel for you, Nish. I feel for you. Look, Nish, if you happen to just do a little background on New York City with the Mandami, him being a Muslim, so-called Muslim, and he's the mayor of New York. Just check out and read up on the New York stuff. It's not good. But key historical details here. Between 1820 and 1975, roughly 4.7 million Irish people settled in the U.S. 1820 to 1975, roughly 4.7 million Irish people settled in the U.S. I'm not going to read that out loud, hon. I'm not. Impact of the famine. During the 1840s, the Irish immigrants accounted for more than half of all immigrants entering the U.S. The settlement areas, many initially settled in cities like Boston and New York, often living in poor conditions while facing discrimination, including, quote, no Irish need apply attitudes. And there were signs all over in Boston and New York on the front doors of businesses saying no Irish need apply. So you're over in Ireland, you're looking forward to coming to the States. God only knows how much you paid to get on the ship. Okay? And you're thinking, oh my God, it's going to be a better life over here. And actually, the Irish were kicked to the curb. They were kicked to the curb. Now, not for tonight, but I do want to mention it that there's a lot of literature out there, a lot of books on the Irish coming to America and how they were treated. And some authors, some books suggest that the Irish were treated worse than the slaves. Laurel, hey Laurel, good to see you. Laurel says, as a Russian German naturalized in 1996, I will never leave my culture. Hi, Sean. I have friends, mushing friends in Ireland. I cannot pronounce that by Burl. All cures are welcome here in my place. Nice to sit and listen to you tonight. I'm glad you are sitting, and I'm glad the dogs are okay. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Good to see you. Peekaboo, back at you. Nice. No. The smiles are coming back on. When Irish smiles are solid. When Irish eyes are smiling. But how it blows me away that they did whatever they could to get away from Ireland, to get away with all that shit. The famine, the British rule, the whole 9 yards, and come over to America and they get treated like shit. Hey, Sherry, good to see you. Hey, Michelle. Boy, everyone's coming in tonight. Yeah, now, my ring light just got bright. So that's a good sign. But that would suck, leaving your country behind. But you had to. Coming to America where you can, get some freedom. And then they just kick you to the curb whenever you get here. Oh, wow. Sherry is sitting in the plane. Wow. But I don't know. It's just like really, really depressed. It was depressing for the Irish people when they came over here from Ireland to the United States. The impact of the famine during the 1840s, Irish immigrants accounted for more than half of all immigrants entering the U.S. The settlement areas, many initially settled in cities like Boston and New York, often living in poor conditions while facing discrimination, including, and I need to tell you people this, quote, no Irish need apply. Isn't that something? Or there's another one. Um, you would go to places and no brogue. They couldn't speak brogue. They could not speak it, you know. But they spoke brogue around, the Irish. But if you wanted to go somewhere, you could not speak it. I know that a lot of the Irish women, they were they were mainly like servants for rich people, and the men, a lot of them became policemen and firemen due to the fact that no Americans wanted to be a police or a fireman at the time. So that was an opportunity for the Irishmen. And they also built roads. Brick roads. Yeah. The Irish are very good bricklayers. I mean, that's been brought down from ages to ages. And they had some assistant migrations. Some immigration was funded by landlords or poor law guardians looking to remove impoverished citizens. So I guess there was some people out there that wanted to help the Irish out. I don't know. But it wasn't pleasant when they got here. Sherry says a lot of Irish settled in Newfoundland. Some people up the shore from me still sound the same. Thank you for sharing that, Sherry. Thank you for sharing that. But it is 8:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and everybody knows that it is time to take a break. So everybody, you know the deal. Go out, have a cigarette, go to the bathroom, get something to drink, and I will see you in a couple minutes. Who can we play today? That's one.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation.
Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans.
Hey, welcome back to the second part of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans. 9 more days, and it is St. Patty's Day, and I am looking forward to it. Yes, I am so looking forward. And because I was always taught growing up, and then even in my 20s and 30s, I never went out on I did go out on St. Patrick's Day. Me and, all my cousins, they would meet down at Mulhaney's Harp and Fiddle. Done, and in the morning. And we would just sit there, and the band would be playing. You drank, you had fun, the whole 9 yards. Those were, and then come the afternoon, we're ready to go home and go to bed. Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, Vet Girl, good to see you, honey. But so don't forget that Mr. Don and Darren Yazzie, they do have a podcast, Don't Whistle at Night, right after my show. And go over there and give them some love tonight. They always have good guests, and they always have great, awesome shows. And if you're not doing anything during the week, okay, and if you're tired of all the bullshit on TV and all the news and the reruns that they have going on, why don't you just pop on your phone or get on your TV or computer and tune into UPRN Talk Radio, because we have shows 7 days a week, Sunday through Saturday, and they are very good shows. We have different hosts who have different ideas, or they bring different type of situations, and then you can learn a lot from them. You can learn a lot. So stop in and pop in and just say hello and listen to all the other great hosts that are on this platform. So we were talking about the Irish coming. Why did the Irish come to America in the first part of the show? And basically was to get the hell out of Britain, get out of Ireland because of the famine, the potato famine in 1840. And also they wanted to get away from the British rule. And they also found out that they could have a better opportunity here when they come to the States. And that was not good. It didn't turn out what they thought it would be. So, of course, I got my favorite AI here. And it says, what happened to the Irish when they came to America? What happened to them? Not why did they, but what happened to the Irish? Hey, Heidi, good to see you. I'm on a different timeline this past week. Don't worry about it. You're here. It's all that matters. Everybody in the chat room, everybody in the 160 different countries are there. They know your vibe. So it's okay to be late. All right. Nobody. So, second, oh, there goes I must have been saying something. Brothers doing something here. But the Irish immigrants in the 19th century, fleeing the Great Famine, faced intense prejudice, extreme poverty, and dangerous, overcrowded living conditions in the U.S. cities. Often Catholic and unskilled, they encountered no Irish need apply. And I stress that. I stress. They did not want the Irish working here in America. Discrimination and violence, yet eventually built communities. They formed unions and gained political influence through civil service jobs, which would have been the policemen and firemen, because nobody else in America wanted that job. So opened up to the Irish. Now there's some key details of the Irish experience in America. Arrival and living conditions. Most arrived destitute in cities like New York, living in crowded, unsanitary, and disease-ridden tenements in areas like the Five Points. Now, there was a movie there in Donald Day Lewis, and who's the other one? I forget. But it's called The Gangs of New York. And I don't know how truthful that movie is, but after reading all this crap going through the Five Points, it might have been true that there was a lot of gang fighting there. Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah, that was a dude, and Liam Neeson as a priest. So it was really, really good movie. The Irish Catholics were targeted by nativist groups due to their religion, being viewed as uneducated criminals or loyal only to the Pope. I'm an Irish Catholic. My mom is, my family is. And do I look like an uneducated criminal to you? But the Irish were smart. The Irish were smart. Sure, they were persecuted and they were like all that kind of crap. Treated like shit, basically, is what they were. They were treated like shit. But they managed to stay alive. I know for a fact I have cousins up in Boston. And if you look at Boston and if you look at Pittsburgh, we're like brothers and sisters almost. Because we're built the same. There's a ton of Irish up there in Boston. There's a ton of Irish up here in Pittsburgh. And we do have some great St. Patrick's Day parades. We really do. And so does Boston, so does New York, and so does Chicago. So, and a lot of partying. Mitch says, do we have to answer that, Sean? If you want to, it's all right by me. The workforce challenges. Men often find work in dangerous, low-paying manual labor, such as building railroads and canals, while women commonly worked as domestic servants. Now, if it wasn't for the Irish, there would be no canals now, would there? There would be no roads. There would be no roads that people could travel on. But the Irish did it. They busted their asses for a little bit of pay. A little bit. But, I look into this, right? I look into this, and even though the Irish drank a shitload, and we did, no potatoes. I bet you they grew their own potatoes here. But if it wasn't for the Irish, New York wouldn't be what it is today. Nor Boston, nor Pittsburgh. So with them being like really hardcore headstrong and fighting and drinking, I'm telling you. And it's how, I believe that's how America was made, through the Irish. Now, I'm not knocking any other groups out there, the Germans, the Russians, the Slovakians. No, I'm not, because everybody who came from another country into America all took part in making America better, or beautiful. And if it wasn't for all the other, immigrants that came along, who knows what would have happened? Who knows? but I love my America that I'm in, and I have to give it. I have to give all the credit, not only to the Irish, but I have to give it to all the other country immigrants that came in to the United States. It wasn't the Irish that really got, screwed over. I mean, probably a lot. A lot of the people got screwed over. But by the end of the 19th century, the Irish had moved from being a despised minority to a central part of American urban life. I mean, and I'm going to read that again, okay, so you can understand. By the end of the 19th century, the Irish had moved from being a despised minority to a central part of American urban life. And I'm sure that's the same with the people, all the Irish that moved up into Canada and to Newfoundland, you know. So it was, I have to say that we did pretty good for ourselves when we came over. Came over with nothing, and now look at us. And trust me, there's a lot of Irish politicians in Pittsburgh. There used to be. And the parties that we would have, I remember when I was small, my cousins would get married. I had three cousins, and they married three brothers from Ireland. And we went to the wedding. Okay. Um, Thank you, Heidi. And we would be sitting there at the table, and all of a sudden, all these guys would get on the dance floor and do what the hell's it called? Clogging. They would do clogging. And what's another interesting fact about the Irish, when they did come over, they did go, and they lived in the Appalachian Mountains. And the music that you hear from the Appalachian Mountains come from Irish Scottish people who brought the fiddle over with them. And that's where the clogging too began over in the Appalachians. But at the weddings and at the parties, they drank, and they had fun. They had a lot of fun. My great grandma would bring in the guys that would come over to Ireland. My great grandmother, she would put them up at her house, rent them a room, you know. So, and it was really, really funny. The big thing that the Irish actually do, okay, is they love funerals. You can even ask my mom. My mom got a car. That's where they had that's where they talked to the people, was at funerals. Irish love funerals. And they also love the wakes. When my father passed away in 1986, before he died, he asked my mom if we could have his wake before he died. No shit. My dad said that to him. Because when he died, we had the wake, and it was Joe Fox. And it was at the American Legion, post number 5 in East Liberty. And 200 people came to his wake. We had 2 bands going, an Irish band and a regular band. There was more booze than there was food. And everyone had a good time because they celebrated his life. But the crazy thing about that whole party is I had an aunt, great aunt. She was 92. Okay, I'm sorry. Mine's been going out too, Joe. Don't sweat it, buddy. But my aunt was 92 years old. And she got on stage. and did the Irish jig with a beer in her hand at 92. No shit. It was the best sight ever. So yes, we did drink. We had a lot of fun. You know. But I have to look back at the Irish that came over here from Ireland, where they came with nothing, and they joined when they got here to the States. But you know what? I'm doing pretty good. There's a lot of Irish people who are doing pretty good too. But if you ever get the opportunity, okay, if you ever get the opportunity, just look up the Irish coming to America. And you can see for yourself how bad they were treated. But now they're okay. They're doing pretty good. But I have one more thing I want to bring up about the Irish. Okay. Now, when they came over in the 1860s, the time there was the Civil War between the Union Army and the Confederate Army. And whenever they got off the boat, okay, a lot of men did not even go into New York. They got on another boat and they joined the Union Army. Okay. An estimate of 160,000 to 200,000 Irish-born and first-generation Irish-American men fought in the American Civil War. 160,000 to 200,000 Irish-born and first-generation Irish-American men fought in the American Civil War, with the vast majority, roughly 150,000 to 180,000, fighting for the Union, and about 20 to 30,000 for the Confederacy. They served in the notable units like the Irish Brigade. And I do believe the Confederate Irish, they were sharpshooters. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there. And they were with Georgia. They were fighting with Georgia. But what's really, really cool about the Civil War was July 2nd, 1863, at the Battle of Gettysburg. The 69th, the Fighting Irish, with the 68 New York and the 72nd Pennsylvania, were going down to the wheat field to fight. Okay. And the Irish Brigade got decimated from some dumbass colonel who made a wrong move. But there was a Father Colby, who gave the last rites to the Irishmen going into the wheat field. He gave them last rites. Well, there is something about Colby that you might think is kind of crazy. He went to become the Chancellor of Notre Dame. Okay. And so when he got to Notre Dame, they did not have a mascot. They didn't. So Father Colby came up with the Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. And how he got that name was July 2nd, 1862, the Fighting Irish. That's how Notre Dame got their name, the Fighting Irish, from July 2nd, 1862. Joe wrote, I live in an area where the Irish miners ruled the towns around me, and I can personally show you some pictures of the solid rock they carved. They carved the solid rock away to make way for a gravity railroad that dominated our landscape around me, the backbone of American industry. Thank you for sharing that, Joe. And we did. We kicked butt, is what we did. The Irish kicked butt. Now, a couple things. Okay, I was right about the Confederate. Okay, real quick, I'll just read a couple of these. Okay. The Union strength, the Union Army saw the highest numbers with Irishmen often motivated by loyalty to their new home, a desire to prove their citizenship or economic need. That's the Irish. The Confederate service, roughly 20,000 Irishmen fought for the Confederacy with, for example, the 24th Georgia Volunteer Infantry and the Louisiana Tigers, serving as units. And notice this with Gale blog post. I want to look into that a little bit more. The Louisiana Tigers were not a very, very well liked men. They were bad. Famous units. The Irish Union Army was renowned for its courage in battles like Fredericksburg. The Irish are 10% of Australians. That's right, because didn't they, whenever you did something wrong, you had to go to jail, they sent all the Irish to Australia. If I'm not mistaken, is that true? I think it is. Ireland produced 18 generals during the war, 12 for the Union and 6 for the Confederacy. And the motivation, while many fought out of their loyalty or to establish themselves, others were drafted or joined for bounty money and just loyalty. And even to this day, a lot of the Irish are really, really loyal, real loyal. I'm loyal to my people. I really am. But that's how I was raised. It's in my genes. I'm glad everybody came in to check out the show tonight. Don't forget, I'll be on Tuesday night with another episode of Something Irish. So I don't know what it's going to be, but of course, everybody knows I'm going to be drawing my card tonight. Joe, you ready, buddy? And Joe Fox is going to look up the deal for it, and he's going to tell us what it's all about. Okay, so the card I'm going to draw is an animal card. Okay. You're welcome, Heidi. You're welcome. And so this animal card I'm going to pull out. Hopefully it will help you, guide you, this animal guide you through your week, through your spiritual walk of life, your path. And the card I'm bringing, Joe, here we go. The antelope. The antelope, buddy. And that is the card of the for Sunday night, is the antelope. While he's looking, I'm going to be looking because I like to. I'm really looking forward to Tuesday night. I'm glad you're loving them. I'm glad you are. Let's see what the antelope is all about here. Unless Joe gets it. Oh my God, the antelope, 185. Yeah, it is you. Yeah, 185. Whoa, I'm way back here. Let's see. The antelope. It's an action one. When time was just begin, we will the people, but with our hunger we are starving. What can we do to save ourselves? Oh, here it is. Joe got it. Yes. The antelope as an animal spirit symbolizes action, intuition, and adaptability. It encourages you to trust your instincts and seize opportunities with enthusiasm and grace. Don't worry, Johnny. Good to see you. I'm glad you at least popped in. But the antelope as an animal spirit guide. Okay. Now, here's what's really cool, too, Joe. Thank you for putting that. Joe Fox, my man, he put that up. But here's a little story behind it. When time was just beginning, the tribe of man was small. Antelope saw that the two-leggeds were naked, hungry, and in danger of extinction. The ancestors would soon vanish from Mother Earth if action were not taken. Antelope took action and came into the camp, calling all the two-leggeds together for counsel. The two-leggeds are us. Great Mystery sent me to teach you a lesson. The lesson is to do. You have no need to be fearful if you know what to do, and then you do it, Antelope said. And the people said, and what shall we do? The antelope returned and said, if you are naked and cold, you should kill me and take my coat to keep you warm. It is my gift to you. Do it. We will, said the people. But what about our hunger? We are starving. What can we do to save ourselves? If you are hungry, you should kill me and take my flesh, for it will nourish you and make you strong. It is my gift to you and a part of my evolution. It is my service. Do it. Ain't that cool? Wasn't that cool? The antelope coming to us and saying, you know what? If you need some warm clothes, just, shoot us up, kill us, and use the cloak. And if you need it, use our cloak. I think the antelope is a very special kind of animal. But everybody, thank you again for popping in tonight. It was a great show. It was an awesome show. I'm glad to see everybody popping in. Children, if you can, please go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you don't have any children or any parents or any family, find someone, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, good night, everybody. See you Tuesday night. And please protect the children.